Hello everyone, I'm Gershom Dekoning from Dekoningtan. Today's video is a little different. I actually don't really do tutorials, generally speaking. I might do some in the future if I feel like it. My channel's not really dedicated to tutorial kind of stuff, but I discovered something super cool. It's called MIDI Guitar 2. It essentially allows me to record my electric guitar, and it changes that audio signal into MIDI notes. And I just wanted to make a quick video to show how to set up MIDI Guitar 2 for a reason. First things first, Jam Origin is the website that has MIDI Guitar 2. There's different versions you can use. There's an iPhone, iPad version, there's a GarageBand version, and there's a for Windows and Mac version, which is the full version. You can also trial it first and also get MIDI bass. And there's a MIDI violin, which doesn't have a download thing, but I guess that that's something they're doing for the future. You can decide which one you want to get yourself. For me, I did end up getting the full version. The main reason being, I'm actually a much better guitarist than I am a keyboardist. I learned piano growing up, but I didn't ever get really good at the keyboard. So I do a lot of my work using technology, like the computer as my instrument, and knowing how to work my computer well. So anyway, the second thing you're going to need is this little program called Loop MIDI. Loop MIDI is a free little program you can download, and essentially what it does is it turns your computer into like a patch bay for MIDI, so you can create MIDI inside your computer ports. The next step is to open up Loop MIDI. Once you got Loop MIDI open, you're going to create a little Loop MIDI port. So you can see here it tracks the data that's coming in and out of this MIDI port that you've created, okay? As you can see, MIDI Guitar has its own interface. On the interface, you'll have to set up your sound card and your channels in, channels out, etc. And then here you set up your MIDI interface. That's where you click. And in my case, I have, of course, my keyboard. My Focusrite has some MIDI on it. I have a fader box, and then I have Loop MIDI port, which is my internal thing. So now it is basically sending all output of MIDI notes that it's creating from my guitar into Loop MIDI port. Now there's a bunch of other options here that you can get into, and they're pretty neat. They're different ways of articulating things. You can mess with your tuning, so it listens better to your instrument if you drop D or some other tuning things. You can have guitar effects built in there. It's pretty neat on its own as well. But all we're focusing on right now is getting that MIDI data into Reason. So we go to Edit, Preferences, Control Surfaces. And as you can see, I've put here Other MIDI Keyboard, No Controls. So all it's really sending is going to be notes. Yeah? How do you do that? Well, you do Add Manually, Other, MIDI Keyboard. Now you can choose to do a MIDI Control Keyboard, or you can do MIDI Keyboard No Controls. I chose No Controls because I didn't want other data to be misinterpreted, so I went for that because I felt it was safer. Here at the bottom, you can tell Reason what MIDI input it's listening to. And then you select Loop MIDI, MIDI port, or whatever you named it. So as you can see now, I have my guitar here ready. It's plugged into the audio interface. I've got MIDI Guitar 2 open. You can actually see that it's receiving data. Like that, okay? And then minus that. Now I can select any instrument I want, for example Thor, and I can start to play. Now the interesting thing about this is, let's turn my volume down, it can do that, and this is with very little latency, even though I'm actually using OBS as well. So I've got quite a lot of CPU being eaten up by OBS, and yet it's still managing to pull this off pretty well. Now, cool, I can play individual notes, but what about chords? So I'm just going to select a different instrument that is more chord heavy. Let's go ahead and do, Green Table Synthesizer. Okay, Musica Machina, and I'm going to try playing some chords. So those were power chords. So those were power chords, but you could actually do full-on chords, and it actually manages to pick up every note. That's pretty awesome. So for me to get more plucky bits, I had to be more careful and change to my middle pickup and reduce the volume slightly, but you can get plucky bits as well. And you could also do cool stuff like this. All these little things that just get a lot easier when this is your real instrument that you're good at. Obviously, it does take some tweaking, but I think it's a really fantastic tool for guitarists to be able to get better control over their MIDI parts and to play with a little bit more expression and emotion that might not be as easy for us on the keyboard. I hope that was a useful tutorial. Thank you all for watching. Have a good night.